This Ask Misty is from a young entertainer who wants to become involved in the drag scene. However, is afraid of I guess the dark side of the world that we live in. And they specifically are talking about the drug scene. And they want to know how to become an active drag person and part of this club scene without being a part of this scene. Well, it's very simple. Don't do it. Don't do it. I sound like a 1980s public service announcement. Say no to drugs. That's all. The reality is, yes, ever since Studio 54, drugs has been very, very, very prevalent in the club scene, in the drag scene, in the I want to be fierce and amazing scene. Celebrities do it, homeless people do it, people that live in trailers do it, people that live in mansions do it. It's very, very, very prevalent. You're not going to get away from it. There's no way you can hide from drugs. You just have to be strong enough to say no. And only you can do that. Only you can respect yourself and protect yourself. Only you can say, I'm standing up. I believe what I believe, and I'm not going to do it. But you know what? Can I tell you a secret? The reality is, and I can say this from self-experience, I'm drug-free. I don't do drugs. People that do drugs try to hide the fact that they do them. Meaning, when they do drugs, they don't usually do it out in front of you. It does happen. I have been to nightclubs where I've seen people just put it on the table and, and do it right in front of you. But I've also been in situations where people are more discreet and they're like, oh, constantly running to the bathroom or dip it into the closet, Most people do it in private. Number one, because they don't want to shove it down your throat. Number two, they don't want to share. So I think the reality is, you're never going to have to forcefully say no. Most people aren't going to force you to do drugs. But I will say that I personally, I don't judge people that do drugs. I've performed with girls that had to do several lines of cocaine before they would even go on stage. The reality is, I'm afraid to do that. Number one, because I've seen what messes it can turn people into, and I don't want to have to rely on that to become a functioning performer. But also, I think that in some circles, people are like, Misty, don't do this. And I have sort of, to a degree, felt shunned by the drug scene crowd, but at the same token, not at all. And the reality is, you can do a bump right in front of me and I do not care. I've been to parties where people smoked marijuana. I don't mind. I don't need to smoke it. The reality is, I'm a control freak and I like to be in charge. Meaning, I like to be of sober mind. I like to know what's going on. And so no. Yes, the answer to your question is, there's a lot of drugs in the gay scene and in the drag scene. And yes, you can stand up and you can say no. You don't have to do drugs to be popular. In fact, you'll be more popular and more amazing if you don't do drugs. I mean, I'm just saying. That's what I think. Anyways, I hope I answered your question. If you have any more, just ask.